cruising around for the purposes of this. We'll just go ahead and, he's cruising straight, and he's just hanging out, going down the road. So he comes upon the first turn. The very, very, very first thing I want you guys to look at is where are the feet on his pegs. Balls of his feet. How many of you guys scrape your feet? Don't be shy.
How many what?
Scrape your feet in a turn. Come on.
Yep.
Oh, come on. When you're first riding in, touch your toes.
Jesus, man, I'm back here.
Hey. There we go. What? All right.
Everybody else has wee feet.
Wee feet?
Video?
Yeah.
Or they're going too slow.
Or we started out doing that because it's just uncomfortable any other way.
A lot of us get lazy on the freeway and so on, and we end up doing the duck feet thing here,
The freeway position.
Yeah, exactly. So just keep in mind that, when you get into the twisties, to pull your feet back, you can't end up scraping them. I have seen one individual at the track who did not do that, went into a turn, broke his foot underneath the foot bed. Yeah, not good. So if that doesn't teach you to keep them above it, don't know what will. So the next thing I want to point out is where he's positioned in relative to the tank. He may have pushed himself further back just to get below the windscreen, but he snugs himself up against the tank to be able to use the tank with his legs here. Yeah. So get into a relatively close distance with the tank, whatever's most comfortable for you. And then the very first thing is, okay, Brian's cruising down the road, and he sees a turn that's coming up, and he shifts his butt off the seat just about like this. Not the entire two butt cheeks hanging off. Not
Fill his ass right there, get it tight.
Right here.
Yeah, thanks, Greg.
All right. So if you were to look back here, it's pretty much the seam of his pants is just about where the edge of the seat is. The reason you don't want to hang too far off the bike, and we're going to go into this a little bit later, is you can actually put too much weight on the inside foot peg. What we teach is this is a sideways motion. So if it was an aerial view, if my hand is a gas tank and then here's your legs, it's a side-to-side motion like this. You want to basically open your knees up a little bit and catch the tank with the inside of your thigh. Okay? This is the stability point. This is using his stomach muscles and his leg completely pressed against the tank. This is the most stable part of your body to the bike at this point. Okay? So he shifts his butt off to the seat in advance of the turn. Not at the turn, but well in advance of the turn. Okay? Then from there, he's going to go ahead and he's coming up to his braking marker, turning point, whatever it is, whether it's track or street, whatever seems to be, okay, I think we're out right here, so I'm going to turn in. He's going to go ahead and instigate the counter steer. And the other thing that he may or may not do, again, this is going to be track or street, is he may want to stick his knee out a little bit just to just be prepared. How many of you guys stick your knee down on the street? Be honest. Some of you? Okay. And on the track? We all pretty much do, right? Okay.
It's a good way to attract the police on the street.
Good way to attract the police.
Key is to ride fast but look slow.
Yeah. So this is just kind of a good indicator to make sure you're nice and loose on the inside of your leg here. Okay. If you scrape your knee down on the street, that's fine. Obviously, you're going to put your knee down if you're getting that close. You guys ride with or without knee pucks on the street? Some of you? Yes? How many do ride with knee pucks on the street? Okay, so most of you don't, I guess. All right. So what I would say is you probably just want to do it in kind of a comfortable position. So maybe just, 6 inches out a little bit if you wanted to. Sometimes, when we're in the braking marker, we squeeze the tank because we want to alleviate all the pressure on the arms. But once you're done with that braking force, you can still stick your knee out a little bit if you want to. Again, for the street, not so important, but for the track, especially if you're, someone like this guy right here, he's probably burying pucks every 5 minutes. Just kidding. Go ahead and get ready to, stick your knee out for when you're going to reach that point. Okay. So he's got his knee out ready if he's going to use it. As he instigates the counter steer, he goes ahead with a fluid motion and he drops his upper body into the turn like this. Okay. Now, what I pointed out earlier was, for the street, obviously you want to try to gain a little bit of a better vision. you don't have to be dramatic when you do this, okay? It just kind of depends on how fast you're going. Obviously, the faster you're going, the lower you get to the bike. It really does apply that way. We've had some novice students who come out to the track and they just soak it up like a sponge, and then they go out on the track and they go, and the next thing you know, they're doing what? They're going like this because they're not increasing their throttle to accommodate for how much they're leaning off the motorcycle. So it is a slow building process to be able to work into this. But again, you know, you can still hang off to the side a little bit. You don't necessarily have to be laying on it. But this is a very stable, neutral position. He's not putting any input on the bars. He's not modulating the gas or throttle unless he wants to. He can let go if he wants to. Yeah. And again, like he talked about, if you had a lot of input on the bars going into a turn, you're going to be doing this. Whereas this, if he hits the bump in the road, it's going to, okay, there's a bump in the road. So you're really allowing the motorcycle to do its job and not to absorb all the bumps, the suspension, and everything else. You're just along for the ride. So one of the things I'll point out here on the opposite side, this side, is this is where his leg is relative to the cutout of the tank. Brian's legs are a little bit shorter than mine, so he has to put his foot on the foot peg and kind of push it up into this crease. Okay? Me, I don't have to do this. If I was on this bike, I could, duck foot my foot like this in order to gain it. If I did it like that, it would be above this edge. So again, that's going back into you and your bike and accommodating it to make sure that your leg is really pressed against this tank. Yeah? So, make sure it's nice and locked in there. He's in the turn. He's nice and comfortable. He's looking through. And as he's getting ready to finish the apex of the turn, he goes ahead and straightens himself back up on the bike, like so. This is a lower body maneuver. He's not pushing on the bars to do this. Why would he not want to push on the bars?
Because he was trying to change the direction of the bike.
That was an animated image, wasn't it?
Do it again so we get it on video. There we go.
If you try to push on the bars to straighten yourself up, what are you doing? You're pushing the tire the opposite of what you want to do. You're actually giving it even more countersteer in order to straighten yourself back up. You want to use your legs and your lower core to straighten yourself back like this. And you do that by pressing or pulling, as he likes to call it, against the tank to bring yourself back. So again, like we were talking about, when your knees are out away from the tank, they're off to the side, you push against that tank. You want to lift up off the seat a little bit so you can glide over, and you want to push against it to bring yourself center. You're going to use your stomach core muscles to do that as well. This is especially important for transition turns.
Lord knows there's a lot of on Mosquito Ridge.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a lot of transition turns on Mosquito Ridge, and for those of you who've been at the track, anybody been in Finian or at least watching on television, the off-famous bus stop, that's a very, very quick turn, very quick transition. You can gain a lot of speed in transition time by doing this correctly. Now, when Brian does a transition from side to side, it's still the same thing where he pushes off with his legs or pulls himself with his legs over the bike, except he just exchanges the tank to the other side, like this. Notice that he keeps his upper body low to the tank. You guys know what a metronome is?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens if the weight's up high? Very slow, right? Very slow. You put it down low, very quick. Same thing. You keep your body nice and low to the tank, nice shift off to the side, and you're going to get through that turn just like that. I was following an instructor a few years ago, one of our Go Fast guys, and I was following him around. He went through the apex and the bus stop in Finian just so fast, and I was like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I gotta try and catch up to him." And I didn't realize it until after the fact of how low he was staying on the bike. He was practically just, keeping his helmet right here with where the windscreen was, and he was able to transition through so much faster. So I went out the next couple sessions, and I just paid attention to just that one thing. I picked up a second on my lap time, but just changing that. So there's a classic example of how you can do it a lot better. Turns 3 and 4 at Thunder Hill. Same thing, it's a little bit slower, but you're still leaned over and you're waiting. My turning point is where the apex ends. Same thing, stay low and go over. You got plenty of time for 4, straighten up into 5. Okay? Same direction turns. Got plenty of those on the street.